Kia ora and welcome back to the channel. I'm Elvie and today we are doing a watercolour review of sorts. This is a gifted set and yeah, I thought it was really interesting and wanted to show you guys what the paints were like. It's a student grade set, I believe. The brand is Specialistic Colours. It took me a while to figure that out. I thought that was just it's stating facts about the paint. But this is the front of the box if you're curious. I did Google it and you can still buy paints from this brand and they're really cheap, so they're just not anything fancy, but you know, it's nice to try all paints. You can see me struggling here. So these are actually refills. So the idea is you can take these out and refill your palette with these paints, but the thing is it's this particular paint brand, so of course these wouldn't fit in your standard half pan format unless you like cut it up, which you could do. I would not be against, but the colors, you can tell by the look they're very chalky, so they've got like a lot of filler in them, and just not as creamy as some professional grade paint, but that doesn't matter. What matters is swatching, so we will get onto that. There weren't any like color names or anything on the box, so we'll just kind of make it up, I suppose. I'll actually put the paints over here and I'll try to get my shadow out of it. As you can see, we've got a painting to do as well today. I'm still thinking about what I want to paint. And I'm leaning towards a bird. So this first one, I'm giving them a little bit of grace, like a lot of water and plenty of time to kind of mix up and reactivate. So this first one is white. I don't want to use too much pigment to water ratio though, because otherwise it will just like wipe away. So that's your white. You can't quite see it, but it's there. Next we've got yellow. I've only used the set once, so I was trying to not make up any definite opinion on it until I did this video for you guys. So this is the yellow. They do activate fine, actually. Like you've got to, I'm like putting my brush on it, you know, circling it around a little bit, but it is activating, which is good. This is the orange. And I am using a bit of water. Depending how fast these dry, I might do a second coat over top to see how they layer up over each other. This is the red. And then we've got, going on to blues. This kind of looks like a Prussian blue. So rather than like a typical phthalo blue, we've been given a Prussian. So that limits the kind of brighter colours you can mix, such as your very bright greens or purples or anything, but these would work fine. Like, oh, not purple, sorry, mainly greens and like your sky colour and stuff like that, but it doesn't really matter. Well, to me, I know some people, you know, have their colours that they just can't live without in a set, so that could be yours. And then it'll be ultramarine was the next one that I just put down. This is kind of like a hooker's green. If you're familiar with like the Cotman set, that reminds me of this colour. And then we've got a very lime green. Very, very lime green. Another thing that makes these very cheap is the pigments they use. So most of these, I assume, I'm not sure, I couldn't find much information, but I assume that'd be like dye base, so they would fade in the sunlight. But for fun sketches like this in a sketchbook, it doesn't really matter. And I just ruined the order of it. I'm so sorry. We're just going to go with this now. This is yellow ochre. And then we've got the kind of English red, Indian red, red brown. It goes by a lot of names, this colour. And then we've got kind of a, looks like a burnt umber, which I really enjoy, and I'm happy that it's in there. Oh, it could be a sepia. I'm not sure. And then the last colour is a black. Ooh, that was easy to activate. Yeah, as I said, I'm doing a very watered down layer first. So yeah, those are the swatches. I'll try to get my shadow out of it. Yeah, they look pretty good, like student grade paint, like nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy, but they work, which is amazing, and they'll create paintings, which is even better. I'm not sure what I'll sketch, so I think I'll do that off camera and then we can paint it together. I did, in fact, I'm in the middle of drawing, but I did in fact forget to tell you what paper I'm using here. This is Kansan watercolor paper. It is their 100% cotton paper with 300 GSM, so that's the thickness of the paper. And I'm used to using 200, so this is thicker than what I tend to go towards. And I can definitely tell I'm not as a bigger fan of the thicker paper. I think I prefer, I don't know, just it being a bit more bendable. I know the thickness does also help with when the paper warps due to a lot of water on it. But for me, I don't really particularly mind about the paper warping and moving and stuff. It doesn't bother me too much. So yeah, I thought I'd let you know on what the paper is. Also, I guess while I'm drawing, I'll let you know what it is. These are some grapefruits. It's a tree we've got back at home with heaps of grapefruits on it, and this is a photo from a few years ago that I'm drawing. And yeah, I saw it and I was like, yep, that looks like what I feel like drawing today. It's, yeah, some days you just don't want to overcomplicate things. There's a lot more leaves than this as well, but I think I don't need more leaves. Maybe one up here though. And then we've got a fence behind it. So I've actually changed the pen. I used a thicker line for the couple of grapefruits in the foreground. And then for the background, I'm using a thinner pen just to help emphasize that this is in fact in the distance. And yeah, I quite enjoy doing this for like if you've got something like a window, you're drawing a window, it's a good technique to use for drawing what is behind the window as well. Or you could use pencil as well, which I also tend to do. So yeah, that's a fun little trick for drawing windows or mirrors even, or yeah, just kind of when you want the thing in the foreground to stand out. It's really good to have a bit of line weight variety for that. Very rough with the grass. It's very unkempt anyway, so it works perfect. And there we have it, a drawing fit for a painting. So on to drawing it is. I am using this section of a mixing palette because this doesn't come with one. If you couldn't tell, it just comes in a cardboard box. It is refill paint, so that makes sense. I'm just gonna show you guys what I'm mixing. I'm gonna mix the yellow with a bit of that orange next to it, and that feels maybe a bit of the ochre as well to, yeah, that's a good base. So I'm doing a very light layer, just to start off with. Also, I hope the audio quality is alright. I never know unless I like watch back the video. I don't tend to do that. It gives me a bit like, oh, that's what I sound like. But yeah, hopefully it's alright. And yeah, I've got another palette I was gifted that I would love to do painting with you guys as well. It's a vintage Reeves set of paint, which is very exciting. I have looked at like vintage watercolor sets before. I've got one at home, but yeah, it's really exciting to have a Reeves one because I've used Reeves before, and I feel like it's one of the iconic vintage watercolor paint brands as well. That, and of course, like Winsor & Newton, I think De La Rowney also is quite old, has some cool interesting vintage paint sets out there. This is just for the leaves. It's a very kind of cool photo, so that means there's not a lot of warmth in the colours. So I'm trying to capture that atmosphere, I suppose. So we're just layering up the leaves now. I think I'm using too much water and it'll take forever to dry. I should have thought about that. This brush, it came with the Rembrandt Pocket watercolor set, and it's really nice. It's stable here, so it's very absorbent, and it holds a lot of watercolor. I am very tempted to get a set of the black velvet brushes. I didn't bring the right sized brushes with me overseas, and I've definitely noticed that I'm missing like a number 6, which is, you'd think I'd bring a number 6 with me, but no, I didn't. That's just like the size of the brush here. So I'd say, I think this is like a number 4 or maybe a number 2. It's not very big. So even just like the size above this would be great. Okay, so that is a base of the green. We'll go on to the stems, which is kind of like a brown. So we use that. Sorry, I'm not even showing you. Use this brown. Maybe a little bit of blue. And we'll just lay that down. I'll try not to use as much water as I have been. Not too many stems. And then one of the last things I want to block out is the grass. So we've got that lime green, very bright lime green, and a little bit of maybe ultramarine here. And I like that, so we'll use it. We'll just block that in the bottom here. I was debating either recording this video or going out for a coffee and doing a painting there. Not for a video, but just for fun. But I decided I could do both, but I'll do this first while I still had a little bit of natural light. Yeah, but I still haven't figured out a system for the camera. That sounds a bit complicated for the moment. So you're just still in my hand, getting held. but it means I get to move you around while I'm mixing colours, if I remember. I'm just painting something for the fence line here. Mixing something, sorry. For some reason, I find it really hard to drag the colours along this paper. I don't know if that's a me thing or if that's like this paper thing. But it takes me a while to like smooth it out and kind of block it out properly. Okay, and we've got one more colour, which is a very, very bright pink, which I might not actually be able to get. That's okay. I think I'll add a little bit of ultramarine to cool it down a little bit. Not quite purple, but that kind of colour, rather than a very pink. And I think that will do just fine. It's not quite the colour, but you've got to work with what the colour, like the colours you've got sometimes. I picked this photo as well because I saw multiple colours in it, and I was like, well, I can show off a wide array of the colours in the set if it's got more than just like a green or a grey. I've been doing a surprising, sorry, I just shook the camera there. I've been doing a surprising amount of paintings with orange in it. I don't tend to use orange, I use it in mixes. But yeah, there's been a lot of orange objects around, so I've just been painting a lot of orange. Just filling in the really little gaps here. And yeah, this is like a big colouring in at the moment, just kind of filling in the gaps. You could be more patient than me and make sure every layer is dry, but I'm not feeling patient today. And I don't mind if they bleed into each other. I'm not precious about it. And that last little gap here. You can see the pink kind of bleeding in on the side here. And the green bleeding in here. That's alright. So what I'm going to do is I'll leave it dry for a little bit. I might do another layer off camera and then come back to you to do another layer with you guys. I'll see how I'm going. I don't want this video to be too long. But we'll see. Okay, what I decided to do off camera was the swatches. One went well. So well, in fact. But I decided that's okay. But we'll do another layer of everything with you guys. I don't think this will be a too complicated, overly thoughtful painting with like 50 layers. I think we're just going to do a couple and see how it goes. So we're doing some shadows here. And we're just kind of leaving a section for the highlights. I'm kind of showing you my under the desk there, sorry. I'll stick you back up here. And maybe I'll make it a little bit more orangey yellow. Yeah, we're just making sure to leave highlights so it doesn't feel like just a 2D object. And that's why maybe a third layer could be good to add another layer for rather than just having midtones and highlights, would have a definite shadow as well, which could be good. So yeah, 3 layers I feel like is the prime to get, yeah, your range all without too much hassle. Now I'm just gonna mix up my leaf green again, kind of mixing in a couple colours in there as well. Maybe a bit more blue. There we go. I think I just added brown and black and a little bit of blue to that green mixture. It's like that sometimes though. You're like, how did I get that colour? And then you're able to mix it again, but you don't know how you mixed it. So some of those mysteries. Though I think I wanted this a little bit more blue, but I'm still happy with this. So yeah, as you can see, I'm still leaving room for highlights. And then I think I'll do the brown next. So we'll grab a bit of the brown. Oh, wrong brown, but that's okay. Maybe a bit of the ultramarine. There we go, that kind of dulled it out a bit, and we'll just add it to the post line. And I think I want it to be a bit more, yeah, like that. For the, what are these? Sticks, twigs, branches, connectors. Yeah, something like that. And then the grass as well, I want that to have a bit more definition. It takes a little bit for these to activate, but that's okay. Again, very cheap, affordable paints. But for me, I'm a little bit with cheaper paint because I'm like, what was in the process that made these very cheap? Like what was cut? Some like labor costs or unethical ingredient sourcing and stuff like that. I'm not like a huge environmentalist, but I still, when I can be, it's nice to be kind of considerate and thoughtful about where your paints and pigments and stuff come from, and what the brand's ethics and stuff are. But for like student grade paints that, you know, sometimes one manufacturer manufactures for all of them, it's hard to know the sources of the paints and stuff. And so when I looked up this brand, I saw that they were selling 12 of the same color for like 99p, and so I was like, how is that price? Like, what is getting cut out of the costs, or not quite adding up or something? But it is really good, you know, if you've got a class of like kids and you want to introduce them to watercolor. It's such a good way to get a lot of paint for not a crazy price, especially since kids, they tend to be a bit more heavy-handed, so paints that don't activate as easily, it's actually better because they won't use it like acrylic paint or something and just dab it up. So there are wins with paint like this, and it still works. Like, I'm enjoying it. I'm not, no fuss, no major issues with it. There is like a chalky kind of texture once it dries, but that's what you get with these kind of paints at this line. And also these are gifted, so I'm just really grateful to be gifted these, you know. Such a wonderful thing to be able to give paint, and yeah, enjoy the paints and stuff. Especially, like, I have a lot of paint, so whenever I give it away and they end up using it and enjoying the paint, it makes me really happy. It's like, okay, well, I'm glad someone's enjoying the paint, and stuff like that. So it's really nice to be able to share what you've got. Okay, we're getting there. I think I'll do another one layer over top of the grapefruit. I know I could do more than one, but I'm not overly invested, and I think I'm still happy with how it's coming together, even without that like heaps of layers up. But I will do another layer over top of the branches as well. I think I want it to be a bit more, not black like I just mixed, maybe a bit more, yeah, that grey kind of works. And yeah, a little bit darker there. So yeah, we'll do one more layer over top of the grapefruit, and then that should be us all finished for for this painting. Yeah, I guess before I finish up, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and it's been interesting to hear about these paints. They do come in a cardboard container, so if you ever do get these paints in the end for yourself or kids or whatever, you want a place to put them, and that is because they are, as I said, a refill packet. So yeah, it's a good way to get paints cheaply in a cardboard container like this. I know Roman Schmall have a similar thing where they put them in a kind of cardboard box, and that makes them cheaper for the buyer, which is really good, rather than having them all in a metal tin. So yeah, it's just how you go about it, and this works. So yeah, I'll let this dry and then I'll come back to you guys with the final layer and what that will do together. Okay, so it's not completely dry, but it's pretty much there. So we're just gonna do the last layer. I think I actually want it a bit more yellowy, maybe. You know, it's one of those things where it's you still are just kind of making up as you go. No matter how many times you do painting, still just making it up. So I think I'm very undecided. If I've been undecided about the color of these grapefruits this entire time. If I want them orange or if I want them yellow, if I want them, yeah, we'll be fine. So as you can see, it's not quite dry because it's kind of blending out as I put the paint down, but it's pretty close, to be honest. Again, I could do another layer. I might do another layer later. I don't think I will. This whole video is me just deciding what I'm going to do with this painting. I think I like it. It's sweet. It's nothing too fancy, but it is nice. And those paintings are always fun. So yeah, I think... Ooh, actually. This is me. I'm going to just add a little bit of... The thing with paints like this is that they dull down a lot. They're never really bright, so it's very hard to get your bright, fun colours with paints like these. And you want to use plenty of water because otherwise they feel very chalky and grainy as well. But they still work, as you can see. You can do paintings with them, you can enjoy them, and yeah, be grateful. So, not you guys, I'm telling myself to be grateful because I am grateful. I really enjoy this, and it's really lovely to be able to try them out. As you can see, I've made a bit of a mess, so I'll just let that dry. But this is I'll give you the swatches. These are the swatches. Very, very nice, very nice. Yeah, they're a little... Oh, that one was not dry. That's okay, we'll ignore that. Yeah, honestly, they're fine. They're good paints, and it's cool to use something that's a little bit older, something I haven't seen before as well. I'll try to keep my shadow off that, but you can see this is the painting of the grapefruit, and I think it's quite cute. Here you go. Just change the focus around. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope it was fun. It's a little long, but you can always put it on double speed, although I am telling you this at the end of the video. So yeah, enjoy and see you in the next one.